Hey everyone, welcome. Dominic here with Smart Catholics Mastermind, and I am joined by Lara Patangan. Lara, welcome. Good to have you with us.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
So, very quickly, Smart Catholics Mastermind is a live series to meet the minds and hearts of creators, leaders, and hosts. They devote their time and talent to mastering their vocation so that you can live a fuller life faster. Now, I'm actually really excited to get into Laura's stories here because she sent me a copy of her book, Simple Mercies. And what really intrigued me is not only the message of mercy, but she's got this one line on her website where she says, I volunteered at a soup kitchen, the Florida State Prison, and a homeless shelter. I counseled a woman considering an abortion at the Women's Help Center. I picked up trash with my family on the riverbank, passed out clothes to those in need, and worked alongside women impacted by the sex trade industry. Today, Laura is a freelance writer and an inspirational speaker, and of course now an author, Simple Mercies. So Laura, again, it's the whole message of mercy, like you and I were just chatting, is so important. And I find it so amazing what you've actually done to experience that within yourself and then also with others. So what I'd like to actually understand is, was there a moment where you began to realize, I have to change my life. I can't continue being who I am. I need to start doing something different. What is that story?
I think for me, that probably came, I decided I was going to spend my 40th year. I had a milestone birthday coming up. And I was going to spend my year doing corporal and spiritual works of mercy. And, people joked with me that it was like my version of a midlife crisis or whatever. But it was pivotal and as cliche as it sounds, kind of life-changing for me because I did all of those things. I did many things, like you listed some. And I think I didn't realize how desperate I was for mercy in my own life and in my own relationship with God. I think not having really understood what mercy meant was this blockade between my relationship with God and with me. And I think that moment for me of when did I realize that I can't live the way I live anymore came after I completed my year and I thought, yay, I'm done. I've done these works of mercy. I'm gonna go back to my life. I've wrote about it, shared it with people on a blog, went to prison, checked the boxes, did all of the works of mercy. And when I tried to kind of re-enter my normal life, I just had this hollowness that was evident right away. Like this was not going to fly for who I was anymore. Like I needed to stay immersed in this concept of mercy because it made me feel alive. It made me feel at peace. It gave me such hope. It was not something that I could compartmentalize and shove away into a different aspect of my life. It became, really what I wanted to do is just, share it with others, make others realize. I mean, one of the whole points of the book isn't that you need to go out and, go visit with prisoners necessarily or anything. It's just to recognize the mercy that you give and receive in everyday life and how much that matters, and I think especially, my background was a stay-at-home mother. And we're kind of like society's bottom of the barrel, I mean, nobody thinks that we have value. And it was just so, it made me realize how much we need to support one another in that and recognize like, oh my gosh, there's nothing more important I could be doing with my life right now, than serving in my home in this capacity, teaching the faith, making sure we have a strong family life and things like that. So it was just kind of recognizing that, that cooking dinner for your family who, doesn't like my cooking because, who would, is is still a work of mercy, and it's still, it matters that I show up and do it. It matters to my family.
Beautiful.
So.
I think that's a perfect segue into the next question. What is it that you're now doing as a result of that? And you've started answering that, but so you've written the book, and then it sounds like there's a ministry that is now you can't walk away from, apart from ministering to your family.
Yeah.
What else are you working on? What else is going on?
Well, I mean, I've written the book. I blog weekly about mercy, and I do try to just practice it as a part of my daily life with, in formal volunteer ways, like, I volunteer at Meals on Wheels, and bring food to the inbound, and I foster cats for the animal shelter, and I certainly do a lot within my church, but also just like there's a homeless guy near me, and occasionally I'll drop off, bring him a bag of food, and and I'll sit and talk to him for a while or whatever, and I try to listen to where God wants me to be, and I mean that because it's I don't help every homeless person I see, I certainly walk by a lot of them, I mean, I think it's important to acknowledge them and say hello, but I mean, I don't, but I think if we pay attention, God speaks to us, through those little tugs of our heart about, where we can't say yes to everything, and where does he want us right now in this moment, and sometimes that's just as simple as like comforting a friend and being there for somebody, or one of my favorite works of mercy that nobody ever wants to talk about is admonish the sinner, because it's laden with judgment, and we don't want to do that. And but I mean, I think that's a beautiful act of friendship, to call somebody out on something that that is being disruptive to their lives or can hurt them or hurt other people. I mean, I know I'm very grateful to other people for hard conversations that they've had with me, that have helped keep me on a good path for myself. And so I think there's just, again, that's why I'm in love with these works of mercy, because they're so relevant, and there's so many different ways to do them. And just as we go about our life, no matter what we do as a career or vocation or whatever.
Mm-hmm. No, that's beautiful. I get the impression that like you said, there's the contention around that one particular work of mercy, but I get the impression people wouldn't mind it as much if they saw you living out all the other six. Right. Then they know you're coming from the right place. But when that's the only one that we blog about, and that's our only megaphone to the world, is, well, I don't see any of these others. I don't know, your heart's in the right place. And so I don't trust that, this admonishment is actually good for me, or it's you shoulding on me.
Yeah. That's an excellent point for sure.
You've actually articulated this kind of already, so I want to tease it out with actually the next question. One of the key ideas that we're working with in Smart Catholics is this idea that a lot of people come and join the community, and they think, oh, I'm not very smart, so I'm going to join because I want to get smart, or I don't know very much, I'm not very intellectual. But what's actually extremely important is the idea that wisdom is not the same thing as intelligence. Having big scholastic degrees and there's me using big words, but wisdom is to be truly smart in a way in God, is to actually be wise, and uneducated people can be some of the wisest people that there are. So in response to the call from the Holy Father, that if we think of the world as kind of the church as a battlefield hospital, then what is our particular role on the front lines? Because we are the front line between the church and the rest of the world, and that frontier, that front line, is friends and family, really. So the idea then of being a first responder to them, I'm curious, what comes to your mind as you sort of hear that word? I know it's usually a medical sort of term, emergency term. In your experience, in your, the works of mercy, the idea of being a first responder, what comes to your mind? How would you describe that?
Well, first of all, I think Jesus made it abundantly clear, when he lived, that he will use the least among us. Absolutely. And that was one of the things that gave me confidence when I was going to set out and do works of mercy for a year, was that I am not a theologian. I am not a scholar. I don't have fancy religious degrees or anything like that. I could not have even told you what the 14 works of mercy were when I decided I was going to spend my year doing it. I just knew that they had something to do with service. And it's that I didn't care, because I knew that if someone like me could do it, that anyone could do it. And I also felt like that's our call. God doesn't just call the smart people up to the blackboard. He calls us all to participate and to evangelize and to live our faith. And so I felt like, that gave me a right to show up, that I felt like there might be a lot of people that think I don't know anything or whatever. And to that, I would say, you are absolutely correct. There are still so many things that I'm embarrassed that I don't know or understand about my faith. And I am a cradle Catholic, but I try, I participate. And I think that that's what we do. And I think as first responders, I think my answer to that is show up for yourself, show up for your neighbor, immerse yourself in opportunities. There's so many opportunities like on Smart Catholics to get involved, to get, to listen to other people's stories and witnesses and understandings of the faith and how much that can expand your own. And, show up for the neighbor in your life. Even the unpleasant people, they need friends, and, reach out to them. I think it's really so simple. And I think it's easy, especially in a faith like Catholicism, which is such an amazing history, and is so layered. I think it's so easy to complicate it, but I don't know. I just try to think about Jesus's example, and he kept it simple, and I'm more on the simple-minded side. So it works for me. Like I just, I just try to show up, I think, and be open. It's not, and people are kind. I really believe that, in our, I think it's innate in us because we were created to love and serve. And I think it's that whole, ask for help, Dominic, I've said to you, oh, I can't work this link. I don't know how, it's I can either feel stupid and walk away and just say, hey, can you help me? And you've always graciously done that. So I don't think that we need to worry so much about, I don't know.
Failure and success.
Yeah. Because the only way to me that you really fail as a Christian is really truly by not trying, because God is merciful. So he is going to fill in our gaps. He knows our shortcomings. He is going to fill them. If he just sees that our hearts are trying, it's enough. Yeah. So.
No, that's beautiful. It just makes me think of, sometimes we're out driving, we'll go by Lowe's and so on. There'll be people with, the signs on the side of the road. And you can't give to every single one. I never carry cash anymore.
Yeah.
So we try to buy little food cards. Like get a lunch for yourself at Chipotle, that sort of thing. But, or McDonald's. But at one point we had nothing in the car, and I had a candy cane. I brought one for myself, one for my little girl. And I was driving around, I was just thinking, people always complain, you can't give them money because they're going to use it for this and that. And I was just thinking it's not about who they are. It's about who you are. And who you want to see your children model. So make smart choices about what you're going to give them, but give them something. And so I thought this is going to be silly, but I gave him the candy cane anyway. And his face lit up. And I think that stuck with my little girl. She kept talking about that. Well, I want to give it to him next. So in a way, it just becomes normal, a game. You think about the saints, those those particular saints' kids who'd grow up and they would basically give away everything in the family household, and the parents had to incarcerate them because you can't do this. I need this stuff, but they need it more. And so
Right.
modeling that, I think it's not a question about what are they going to do with it, but what kind of person are you? And I love what you've done, like with this book and with your own ministry. So if you had 1 minute, Laura, to share your most important message with the world, what would you say?
I would say more than ever, our world needs your compassion. We can't go on like we are now. We can't go on fighting and arguing over every little thing. We are losing our humanity. We are losing the thing that God created us to do, which is to love and serve our neighbor. And we can't keep polarizing ourselves into different groups. And we really do. We have to love everybody, and show mercy to everyone, and try to understand, other people's points of view. I mean, that's the beauty of mercy. And it doesn't mean you have to agree with them or, get on their bandwagon, but just to be open to that, and then it can still a separateness, but not a divisive separateness. I think right now we're heading in the divisive separateness section, and never think that you can't make a difference. I really believe that every single one of us can make a difference, and we do, and just try to recognize that. And not so that you can, clang the gong and be like, "Yay, I'm so great," but just so that that you will be encouraged by the good work that you do, knowing it, that it helps others, that it's setting an example for Jesus's message. I think it's a beautiful thing to recognize the mercy that you give, and look for opportunities to do that, because I don't think that there is anything else that is as fulfilling as what comes from our love and service to others. I mean, trust me, I've tried it. Like there's some kind of peace. It may be the harder thing to do, but it is the more gratifying thing to do. So it's just say, quite simply in 2 words, practice mercy. Always. That's 3.
Beautiful.
I'm not a math major.
Yeah, no, it's like someone famously said, there'll come a time to choose between what is good and what is easy, not just what's easy.
Yeah.
So, well, for those who want, I'll put a link in the description. They can get a copy of Lara's book. And if you enjoy this episode, please share it with the one friend that you think would really like to see it, and then come and regroup with us in the free Catholic community on SmartCatholics.com. We're free of trolls and ads and toxicity. We are faithful to the Holy Father, Pope Francis, and the Church. We are committed to a culture of kindness and learning. Does that sound like you? Well, then come and join us. Thanks again, Lara. Have a wonderful rest of your day, everybody, and God bless.